Apparently, I'm hosting my own disaster tonight. At least the guac's good. I'm Ethan Weller, 39 years old, and I'm standing in my own kitchen watching my wife Julia celebrate her promotion with friends who think I can't hear them whispering about what a pathetic loser I am. The irony isn't lost on me that I paid for every bottle of wine they're using to wash down their gossip. Julia glides through our upscale, downtown apartment like she owns the place. Well, technically we both do, but judging by how she's been treating me lately, you'd think I was the hired help. She's 35, blonde, perfectly put together, and works in HR at Morrison & Associates. Tonight she's wearing a black dress that costs more than most people's rent, celebrating her promotion to senior director. "Ethan, we need more ice," she calls out, not even looking at me. Her voice has that edge it gets when she's performing for an audience. I'm an IT project manager at a tech firm downtown. Decent job, decent pay, but apparently not decent enough for Julia's new crowd. As I head to the freezer, I catch fragments of conversation from the living room. "I still can't believe Julia's with him," Nina whispers. Nina works in HR with Julia, all sharp angles and sharper tongue. I mean, Carter's so much more her type. Carter. There's that name again. Carter Drake, Julia's new boss. 37, gym-obsessed, drives a silver Porsche, and apparently has been spending a lot of late nights mentoring my wife. "Shh, he might hear you," Maya responds. Maya's been Julia's best friend since college, loyal as a golden retriever, and twice as naive. So what if he does? That's Arjun, the office party animal. Guy's gotta know he's punching above his weight class. I dump ice into the bucket, my jaw clenched so tight it aches. Through the kitchen window, I can see the city lights twinkling below us. This apartment was supposed to be our dream home. Now it feels like a prison with a view. When I return to the living room, Julia is holding court near the floor-to-ceiling windows, wine glass in hand, surrounded by her admirers. She's telling some story about her first week as senior director, and everyone's laughing at all the right moments. "Oh, Ethan," she says when she notices me. "Carter was just telling us about the new office layout. Apparently, senior staff get much better accommodations." Carter Drake materializes beside her, like he was summoned. He's everything I'm not. Tall, broad-shouldered, with the kind of tan that comes from weekend golf games and Mediterranean vacations. His smile is all teeth and no warmth. "Ethan, right?" He extends a hand like we haven't met 3 times before. "Julia's told me so much about you." I shake his hand, noting how he squeezes just a little too hard. "All good things, I hope." "Oh, absolutely." His eyes never leave mine. "She mentioned you're in IT. That must be stable work." The way he says stable makes it sound like a disease. Julia laughs, a sound like breaking glass. "Carter just got back from Cabo," she gushes. "He was telling us about his new boat. 42-footer, Carter says, puffing up like a peacock. "Perfect for entertaining clients. You should see the sunset from the deck." "Sounds expensive," I say mildly. "Well, you know what they say. You've got to spend money to make money." He claps me on the shoulder, hard enough to make me stumble slightly. Though I suppose that's easier said than done in some professions. The group falls silent. Nina smirks into her wine glass. Maya looks uncomfortable. Arjun suddenly finds the ceiling fascinating. "Speaking of money," I say, my voice steady despite the rage building in my chest. "I should probably mention that this little party is running about $300 over budget. Just so we're all aware of who's actually paying for the entertainment tonight." Julia's face flushes red. "Ethan, don't be ridiculous. It's a celebration." "Of course it is. Silly me." I smile, but there's no humor in it. "I'll just go check on the appetizers. Wouldn't want anyone to go hungry on my dime." I retreat to the kitchen, but I can still hear them. The whispers start immediately. "God, he's so passive-aggressive," Nina hisses. "Julia, honey, you deserve so much better," Maya adds, though she sounds less certain than usual. "The guy's a walking mood butcher," Arjun chimes in. "No wonder you've been spending so much time at the office." I'm arranging cheese and crackers when I hear Carter's voice, lower but still audible. "You know, Jules, if you ever need someone to talk to about domestic situations, my door's always open, day or night." Jules, he calls her Jules. Only I call her that, called her that. The rage in my chest crystallizes into something colder, sharper. I've been Julia's safety net for 8 years of marriage, the steady, reliable husband who pays the bills and keeps the lights on while she climbs the corporate ladder, And this is how she repays me? By letting her new boss humiliate me in my own home? I walk back into the living room carrying the appetizer tray, my face a mask of calm. The conversation stops abruptly, never a good sign. Don't stop on my account, I say pleasantly. Please continue discussing my wife's domestic situation. I'm sure Carter has lots of valuable insights to offer. Carter's jaw tightens. Look, buddy, I think maybe you've had a little too much to drink. Actually, I haven't had anything to drink. I've been too busy serving everyone else. I set down the tray with deliberate care. But you're right about one thing. I have had too much. Too much of watching my wife's boss treat my home like his personal playground. Too much of listening to her friends discuss my inadequacies like I'm not standing right here. Too much of pretending I don't know exactly what's going on. The room goes dead silent. Julia's face has gone pale except for 2 bright spots of color on her cheeks. Ethan, what are you talking about? She asks, but her voice wavers. I'm talking about late nights at the office. I'm talking about weekend team-building exercises. I'm talking about the way you two look at each other like you share some private joke. I turn to Carter. Tell me, does the boat have a bedroom, or do you just use the office after hours? Carter takes a step forward, his hands clenching into fists. You need to watch your mouth. Or what? You'll fire me? Oh, wait, that's right. You can't. I don't work for you. I smile, and this time there is humor in it, dark and sharp. But my wife does, and we both know how much she loves taking direction from her superiors. Ethan! Julia's voice cracks like a whip. How dare you embarrass me like this? Embarrass you? The laugh that comes out of me sounds foreign, bitter. Julia, you've been embarrassing me for months. The only difference is now I'm returning the favor. She steps closer, her eyes blazing with fury and wine. You know what your problem is, Ethan? You're pathetic. You're a small, petty, worthless loser who can't stand seeing other people succeed. The words hit like physical blows. The room holds its breath. Nina looks delighted. Maya covers her mouth with her hands. Arjun stares at his shoes. Carter smirks. I stand there for a moment, letting the silence stretch. Then I nod slowly. You know what, Jules? You're absolutely right. I walk to the coat closet, pull out my jacket, and head for the door. As I reach for the handle, I turn back to address the room. Enjoy the party, everyone. The bar's fully stocked, there's plenty of food, and the host is clearly not needed anymore. I look directly at Carter. Oh, and Carter, next time you want to discuss my wife's domestic situation, maybe do it somewhere I'm not paying the rent. I'm almost out the door when I hear Maya whisper to Julia, You're going to regret this. He's not as weak as you think he is. Smart girl, Maya. Smarter than she looks. The hotel room is nothing special. Generic art, scratchy sheets, and a view of the parking lot. But it's mine, paid for with my own money. And nobody here thinks I'm a loser. Well, except for me, but I'm working on that. It's been 3 days since the party from heck. 3 days of Julia blowing up my phone with increasingly frantic messages ranging from, how could you humiliate me like that, to, we need to talk about this like adults. I've ignored them all. Instead, I've been planning. My laptop is open on the small desk, surrounded by legal pads covered in notes and timelines. If Julia thinks she married a pushover, she's about to learn otherwise. I didn't get where I am in IT by being stupid or passive. I got here by being methodical, thorough, and patient, qualities that are about to serve me very well. A knock at the door interrupts my thoughts. I check the peephole and see Maya standing in the hallway, looking nervous and glancing around like she's worried about being followed. I open the door. This is a surprise. Can I come in, please? She's wearing jeans and a sweater, her usual put-together appearance slightly disheveled. I need to talk to you. I step aside and let her in. Maya perches on the edge of the bed while I take the chair by the desk, closing my laptop. Julia doesn't know I'm here, she says immediately. She'd end me if she found out. Then why are you here? Maya fidgets with her purse strap. Because what happened the other night was wrong. The way she talked to you, the way we all just stood there. She meets my eyes. You didn't deserve that. No, I didn't. I keep my voice neutral. But Julia made her feelings pretty clear. She's not thinking straight right now. This whole thing with Carter, the promotion, the attention. It's gone to her head. Maya leans forward. Ethan, she's making a huge mistake. What kind of mistake? Maya hesitates, then seems to make a decision. Everyone at Morrison & Associates knows about the affair. It's not exactly subtle. Carter's wife is suspicious, and HR is starting to ask questions. Julia thinks she's being discreet, but she's not. This is interesting. Tell me more. Carter's done this before. He has a pattern. Finds ambitious women in the company, promises them advancement, uses them for a while, then moves on. The difference is, Julia actually believes he's going to leave his wife for her. I process this information, filing it away with everything else I've been gathering. Why are you telling me this? Because Julia's my best friend, and I can see this is going to destroy her. And because, she pauses, looking uncomfortable, because I've always liked you, Ethan. You're a good guy, and you've been good to her, even when she didn't deserve it. She called me a worthless loser in front of a room full of people. She was drunk and angry, and showing off for Carter. Maya's voice is earnest. Deep down, she knows she's making a mistake. I stand and walk to the window, looking out at the parking lot. A silver Porsche sits in the far corner, and I feel a familiar surge of anger. That's Carter's car, I say. Maya joins me at the window. Oh God, he followed me here. No, he didn't follow you. He's been having me watched. I turn to face her. Maya, I need you to do something for me. What? I need you to keep being Julia's friend. Keep listening to her. Keep being supportive. But I also need you to keep me informed about what's really going on. Maya stares at me. You want me to spy on her? I want you to help me save her from herself. It's not entirely a lie. If Carter is as bad as you say, then Julia's going to need friends when this all falls apart. Real friends who care about her, not people who just want to watch the drama unfold. She considers this for a long moment. What are you planning to do? Nothing illegal, nothing that will hurt Julia permanently. But I'm not going to just roll over and let her and Carter humiliate me. I meet her eyes. Are you in? Maya nods slowly. Yeah, I'm in. After she leaves, I call a number I found online. Sam Lister, private investigator. Former police detective, excellent reviews, and according to her website, she specializes in domestic situations requiring discretion and evidence. We meet at a coffee shop downtown. Sam is in her 50s, gray-haired, with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense attitude. She listens without judgment as I explain the situation. So you want dirt on your wife and her boss, she says when I finish. I want leverage. I want to understand exactly what I'm dealing with before I make my next move. This isn't about getting even. I consider the question. Maybe a little, but mostly it's about not being anyone's victim anymore. Sam nods. I can work with that. My rate is $500 a day plus expenses. I'll need a retainer of $2,000. I write her a check. How long do you think this will take? Depends on how sloppy they've been. From what you've told me, probably not very long at all. Sam calls me a week later with news. Your wife and her boyfriend aren't exactly master criminals, she says. They've been meeting at the Riverside Motel every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon. Carter pays cash, but he uses his real name. Amateur hour. What about his wife? Vanessa Drake, 34, works as a real estate agent, drives a white BMW. She's definitely suspicious. I've seen her drive by his office twice this week. She's also been asking questions about his schedule. Interesting. It gets better. Carter's been padding his expense reports to cover the motel costs. And your wife's been lying about client meetings to cover her absences. HR might not be investigating yet, but they're starting to notice patterns. I'm sitting in my hotel room making notes as Sam talks. On my laptop screen, I have Carter's social media profiles open. He's not shy about posting photos of his expensive lifestyle. The Porsche, the boat, the designer clothes. All very public, very visible. I need you to do something for me, I tell Sam. What? I want you to arrange for Carter's wife to catch them together. Somewhere public, somewhere embarrassing. That's not exactly standard procedure. I'm not paying you for standard procedure. Sam is quiet for a moment. It'll cost extra. Done. 2 days later, I'm sitting in my car across the street from Marcello's, an upscale Italian restaurant downtown. Through the window, I can see Julia and Carter at a corner table, sharing what looks like a very private dinner. Julia's wearing the red dress I bought her for our anniversary last year. At exactly 7:30, Vanessa Drake walks through the front door. I can't hear what happens next, but I don't need to. The body language tells the story perfectly. Vanessa approaches the table, says something that makes both Julia and Carter look up in shock. Carter starts to stand, his hands raised in a placating gesture. Vanessa picks up Julia's wine glass and throws the contents in Carter's face. The entire restaurant turns to stare. Several people pull out their phones. Julia looks like she wants to disappear into the floor. Carter is wiping wine off his shirt and tie, his face red with embarrassment and anger. Vanessa says something else. I can see her mouth moving rapidly, then turns and walks out with her head held high. Julia and Carter are left sitting there, dripping and humiliated, while the entire restaurant watches and whispers. Perfect. I drive home, back to the apartment Julia and I shared. She moved out after our confrontation, staying at Maya's place while we work things out. The apartment feels different now, lighter somehow. I've been gradually moving my stuff back in, reclaiming my space. My phone buzzes with a text from Maya. OMG, did you see the video? What video? She sends me a link. Someone posted footage of the restaurant incident on social media. The video has been viewed 12,000 times in the past 2 hours. The comments are brutal. Karma's a witch. Wife caught cheating hubby and his side piece. That wine throw was perfect. Homewrecker got what she deserved. I pour myself a scotch and watch the video 3 more times. In the footage, you can clearly see Julia's face when the wine hits Carter. She's not just embarrassed, she's terrified, and she knows this is going to follow her everywhere. My phone rings. It's Julia. Ethan, we need to talk. Hello to you too, Jules. Don't call me that. Her voice is shaky. Did you have something to do with what happened tonight? I have no idea what you're talking about. Carter's wife just happened to show up at the exact restaurant where we were having dinner. That's quite a coincidence. Isn't it? Almost like someone who knows Carter's habits might have mentioned to someone else where he likes to take his colleagues for dinner. Silence on the other end, then, you bastard. Careful, Jules. People might start to think you have anger management issues. Oh, wait, they already do. I saw the video. What video? I send her the link and wait. A few seconds later, I hear her gasp. 12,000 views and climbing, I say conversationally. Nina's going to love this. She always did enjoy a good scandal, especially when it involves people she works with. Ethan, please, you have to help me fix this. Why would I do that? Because I'm your wife. Are you? Because the last time we spoke, you made it pretty clear that you thought I was a worthless loser who didn't deserve your respect or loyalty. I was drunk. I was angry. You were honest. I take another sip of scotch. Maybe for the first time in months. What do you want? I want you to understand what it feels like to be humiliated in public. I want you to know how it feels when everyone you work with is whispering about your personal life. I want you to experience the shame of having your private business become public entertainment. You're enjoying this. I'm learning from it. Turns out, I'm not as weak as everyone thought I was. I hang up and turn off my phone. Tomorrow, I'll start Phase 2. The law offices of Patterson, Hayes & Associates occupy the top 3 floors of a downtown high-rise. My attorney, Rebecca Hayes, is a sharp woman in her 40s who specializes in family law and has a reputation for being absolutely ruthless when necessary. Your wife's attorney wants to negotiate, Rebecca says, sliding a folder across her desk. She's proposing a 50-50 split of all assets, including the apartment. I flip through the documents. What's her justification? Standard no-fault divorce provisions. She's claiming irreconcilable differences and requesting spousal support during the transition period. Spousal support. I laugh, but there is no humor in it. For the woman who's been having an affair with her boss and called me a worthless loser in front of a room full of witnesses. About that, do you have any evidence of the affair? I slide a manila envelope across the desk. Photos, credit card receipts, witness statements, and a very detailed timeline courtesy of my private investigator. Rebecca opens the envelope and examines the contents. Her eyebrows rise slightly. This is very thorough. I'm a project manager. Thorough is what I do. Your wife's attorney is David Morrison. He's good, but he's also cautious. When he sees this evidence, he's going to advise Julia to settle quickly and quietly. I don't want to settle quickly and quietly. Rebecca looks up from the photos. What do you want? I want the apartment. I want her to publicly acknowledge the affair. And I want her to pay me back for every penny I spent supporting her career advancement. The networking dinners, the professional wardrobe, the conference fees, all of it. That's aggressive. She made this public when she humiliated me at that party. Now she gets to deal with the consequences. 3 days later, I'm at the apartment when Julia shows up with a key that no longer works. I changed the locks yesterday. She pounds on the door. Ethan, I know you're in there. Open this door. I look through the peephole. She's standing in the hallway with 2 suitcases and a furious expression. Mrs. Petrelli from 4B is peeking out of her door, clearly enjoying the drama. The locks have been changed, I call through the door. For security reasons. This is my apartment too, not according to the restraining order I filed yesterday. You're not allowed within 50 feet of me or my residence pending our divorce proceedings. You filed a restraining order? Her voice goes up an octave. On what grounds? Harassment, threats, and creating a hostile living environment. The judge was very sympathetic when I showed him the video of you throwing things and screaming at me. What video? I opened the door just wide enough to show her my phone. On the screen is security footage from our building's hallway camera, showing Julia's drunken tirade the night she tried to come home after the restaurant incident. She's clearly intoxicated, screaming obscenities, and trying to force her way into the apartment. Building security was very helpful, I say. Turns out they keep footage for 30 days. Julia stares at the phone, her face pale. You recorded me? The building recorded you. I just made sure to get a copy before it was automatically deleted. I closed the door slightly. You should probably leave before I call the police. Mrs. Petrelli is already reaching for her phone, and I'm sure she'd love to give a statement about the disturbance you're creating. Julia looks around and notices our elderly neighbor watching with obvious interest. Her shoulders sag. Where am I supposed to go? That's not my problem anymore. Maybe Carter can put you up on his boat. Carter and I aren't. Things are complicated right now. I imagine they are. Workplace affairs tend to get messy when they become public knowledge. She picks up her suitcases. This isn't over, Ethan. Yes, it is. You just haven't accepted it yet. After she leaves, Mrs. Petrelli approaches my door. She's a tiny Italian woman in her 70s who knows everything that happens in our building. That girl, she's no good for you, she says in her heavily accented English. You're better without her. Thank you, Mrs. Petrelli. My nephew, he works at Morrison & Associates in accounting. He says everyone there is talking about your wife and her boss. I lean against the doorframe. What are they saying? That the boss's wife, she hired a lawyer. Big divorce, lots of money involved. And your wife, she might lose her job. HR is asking questions. This is news to me, but I keep my expression neutral. That's unfortunate. Mrs. Petrelli nods sagely. What goes around comes around. You want some lasagna? I made too much. That would be wonderful. That evening, Maya calls me. Julia's staying at my place, she says without preamble. She's a mess, Ethan. She's been crying for 3 days straight. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you? Because it seems like you're doing everything possible to destroy her life. I'm sitting in my reclaimed living room, eating Mrs. Petrelli's excellent lasagna and watching the city lights. I'm not destroying her life, Maya. I'm just not protecting her from the consequences of her choices anymore. The restraining order was cruel. The restraining order was necessary. She was harassing me, threatening me, and trying to force her way into my home. Would you rather I let her continue? Maya is quiet for a moment. She says Carter broke up with her. When? Right after the restaurant thing. He said it was getting too complicated, that they needed to keep things professional. How's that working out for them? It's not. Everyone at work knows what happened. People are treating Julia like she has a contagious disease. And Carter's wife filed for divorce yesterday. She's demanding half of everything, including the boat. I set down my fork. This is moving faster than I expected. What about Julia's job? HR called her in for a meeting tomorrow. They're investigating the relationship for potential policy violations. And what did you tell Julia about all this? I told her she needs to fight back, that she can't let you and Carter's wife destroy everything she's worked for. Interesting advice. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. Just that it's interesting how you're encouraging her to keep fighting instead of accepting responsibility for her actions. She made a mistake, Ethan. She doesn't deserve to lose everything. She made a choice, multiple choices, and now she's dealing with the results. I stand and walk to the window. Maya, can I ask you something? Sure. Are you really Julia's friend, or are you just enjoying the drama? The line goes quiet. Then Maya hangs up. I finish my lasagna and pour another scotch. Tomorrow, Julia faces HR. Carter faces his wife's divorce attorney. And I face the next phase of my plan. It's going to be a very interesting day. The promotion comes through on a Wednesday morning. Senior IT project manager, 15% raise, corner office, and a team of 12 people reporting to me. My new boss, Jennifer Walsh, calls me into her office to deliver the news personally. Congratulations, Ethan. You've earned this. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Jennifer leans back in her chair. She's in her 50s, gray-haired, and has the kind of direct manner that comes from 30 years in corporate management. I'll be honest with you. Part of this promotion is recognition of how professionally you've handled your personal situation. I raise an eyebrow. My personal situation? Your divorce. I know it can't be easy, especially with all the publicity surrounding it, but you've kept your work separate from your personal life, and that shows maturity. The publicity, right. The restaurant video now has over 100,000 views and has spawned several copycat accounts posting cheater karma compilations. Julia's face is recognizable to anyone with a social media account. I believe in maintaining professional standards, I say. Good, because your first assignment is going to require a lot of discretion. We're implementing a new client management system, and I need someone who can handle sensitive information appropriately. After the meeting, I walk through the office to my new corner space. Several colleagues congratulate me as I pass. The whispers follow me too, but they're different now. Instead of pity, I hear respect. Instead of poor Ethan, I hear smart move and good for him. My phone buzzes with a text from Sam Lister. Check your email. You're going to love this. The email contains a link to a news article from the business section of the local paper. Morrison & Associates executive faces ethics investigation. The article is brief, but damning. Carter Drake, senior vice president at Morrison & Associates, is under investigation by the company's ethics committee following allegations of inappropriate workplace relationships and expense account irregularities. Sources close to the investigation indicate that Drake may have violated company policy by engaging in a romantic relationship with a subordinate while simultaneously falsifying expense reports to cover personal expenses. The article doesn't name Julia, but anyone who works at Morrison & Associates will know exactly who the subordinate is. I'm still reading when my phone rings. It's Maya, and she sounds panicked. Ethan, you have to stop this. Stop what? Don't play dumb. The newspaper article, the investigation, all of it. Julia's been suspended pending the ethics review. They're treating her like a criminal. That's unfortunate, but I don't see how it's my responsibility. You're the one who provided evidence to the investigators. Actually, I didn't. I provided evidence to my divorce attorney, who provided it to the court as part of our proceedings. The fact that Morrison & Associates' legal department requested copies of those court documents is just due diligence on their part. Maya, I think you're overestimating my influence here. Julia's career's over. Do you understand that? She'll never work in HR again. She should have thought about that before she decided to sleep with her boss and humiliate her husband in public. God, you're cold. I'm realistic. Julia made choices that had consequences. I'm not responsible for protecting her from those consequences anymore. Maya hangs up on me, again. That evening, I decide to celebrate my promotion at Murphy's, an upscale bar downtown. It's the kind of place where the city's professional class goes to see and be seen. I'm nursing a top-shelf whiskey when I spot familiar faces across the room. Julia and Carter are sitting at a corner table, both looking like they've aged 5 years in the past month. Julia's usual polished appearance is gone. Her hair is flat, her makeup minimal, and she's wearing a cheap dress I don't recognize. Carter looks even worse, his expensive suit wrinkled, and his confident demeanor replaced by nervous energy. They haven't seen me yet, but several other people in the bar have. I can feel the stares, hear the whispers. Everyone knows who I am now. The husband from the viral video, the guy who fought back and won. I'm about to leave when Julia spots me. Her eyes widen, and she says something to Carter. He turns to look at me, his face flushing red with anger and embarrassment. Julia stands up and walks over to my table. She's clearly been drinking. Well, if it isn't the conquering hero. Hello, Julia. You look... I pause, taking in her disheveled appearance. Different. You ruined my life. Her voice is loud enough that other patrons are starting to stare. I hope you're happy. I didn't ruin your life. You did that all by yourself. You vindictive bastard. You couldn't stand to see me succeed, so you destroyed everything I worked for. The entire bar is watching now. Someone has their phone out, clearly recording. Julia is swaying slightly, her voice getting louder and more slurred. You want to know what I think? I stand up, my voice calm and clear. I think you're drunk, you're embarrassed, and you're looking for someone else to blame for the mess you made. But I'm not that person anymore. You were nothing before you met me. Nothing. A pathetic IT drone with no ambition and no backbone. You're right, I say, and the admission seems to surprise her. I was all of those things, but you know what the difference is between us, Jules? What? I learned from my mistakes. You're still making them. Carter appears beside Julia, his face red with anger. That's enough. Leave her alone. I'm not doing anything to her. She came over here and started screaming at me. I look around the bar. Everyone can see that. Carter grabs my arm. You think you're so smart, don't you? You think you won? I look down at his hand on my arm, then back up at his face. Carter, you're drunk. You're unemployed. Your wife is taking half of everything you own, and you're about to assault me in front of a room full of witnesses. So yeah, I'd say I won. He lets go of my arm, but doesn't back down. This isn't over. Yes, it is. You just haven't figured that out yet. I drop a 20 on the table and walk toward the exit. Behind me, I can hear Julia starting to cry and Carter trying to calm her down. The other patrons are whispering and pointing. As I reach the door, I hear Julia's voice one more time. I hate you, Ethan Weller. I hate you. I turn back and look at her. Really look at her. The woman who called me a worthless loser, who betrayed our marriage for a chance at corporate advancement, who humiliated me in front of our friends. I know you do, I say quietly. But I don't hate you anymore, Julia. I just don't care about you at all. The silence that follows is deafening. 3 weeks later, Carter makes his final mistake. I'm working late at my new office when building security calls to tell me there's someone waiting by my car in the parking garage. The security guard sounds nervous. He's been there for about an hour, sir. Says he knows you. Big guy. Expensive clothes, but he seems agitated. I thank the guard and take the elevator down to the parking garage. Carter is leaning against my Honda Civic, still wearing what looks like the same wrinkled suit from the bar. His silver Porsche is parked nearby, and I can see it's been vandalized. Key marks along the side, all 4 tires flat, and what looks like rotten eggs splattered across the windshield. Hello, Carter. Rough day? He pushes off from my car and stalks toward me. You did this. Did what? My car, my reputation, my life. You've been systematically destroying everything I've worked for. I keep my distance, staying near the elevator. I think you're giving me too much credit and taking too little responsibility. Don't give me that innocent act. I know you hired someone to follow me. I know you fed information to my wife's attorney. I know you're behind the ethics investigation. Carter, you slept with a subordinate and falsified expense reports. You didn't need my help to destroy your career. He takes another step closer. His hands are clenched into fists, and I can smell alcohol in his breath. You think you're so smart. You think you won. I think you should go home and sleep this off. I don't have a home anymore. My wife took the house. The bank took the boat. The company took my job, and it's all because of you. It's all because of your choices. My choices? He laughs, a sound with no humor in it. My choice to take what I wanted instead of settling for mediocrity. My choice to live like a winner instead of a loser. Your choice to betray your wife, manipulate my wife, and steal from your company. Yeah, those choices. Carter swings at me. I see it coming and duck, letting his momentum carry him past me. He stumbles and catches himself against a concrete pillar, cursing. When he turns around, his knuckles are scraped and raw from hitting the rough surface. Feel better? I ask. He charges at me again, but he's drunk and angry and telegraphing every move. I sidestep and stick out my foot. Carter goes down hard, his expensive suit tearing as he skids across the concrete floor of the garage. You know what your real problem is, Carter? I stand over him as he struggles to get up. You never learned the difference between being strong and being a bully. You thought having money and a nice car and a corner office made you powerful. But real power comes from being smarter than your enemies, not just louder. He gets to his feet, his face cut and bruised and his suit ruined. This isn't over. Yes, it is. I pull out my phone and show him the screen. I've been recording our entire conversation. Assault, threats, harassment, all on video. Plus, I'm sure building security has been watching this whole thing on camera. I gesture toward the security cameras mounted throughout the garage. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to get in what's left of your car, drive away, and never contact me or Julia again. If you do, this video goes to the police, along with a formal complaint. Carter stares at me, his chest heaving. Red streaks drip from his split lip onto his torn shirt. You really think you won, don't you? Carter, I stopped thinking about winning or losing weeks ago. Now I just think about consequences and choices. You chose to be my enemy. These are the consequences. He limps toward his vandalized Porsche, then turns back. What about Julia? Are you going to destroy her too? Julia destroyed herself. I just stopped enabling her. As if summoned by her name, Julia appears from behind a pillar near the garage entrance. She's been watching the whole confrontation, and she looks terrible. Thin, pale, with dark circles under her eyes. Hello, Ethan? Julia, enjoying the show? She walks closer, her heels echoing in the empty garage. I came to talk to you, to try to, I don't know, make peace, maybe. There's nothing to discuss, isn't there? She looks around the garage, at Carter injured beside his ruined car, at the security cameras, at me standing calm and unruffled in my expensive new suit. Look what you've become. What have I become? Cold, calculating, cruel. Her voice is soft, almost sad. This isn't the man I married. No, it's not. The man you married was weak and naive and willing to be treated like garbage as long as it kept the peace. That man is gone. I know I hurt you. I know I made mistakes. You didn't make mistakes, Julia. You made choices. You chose to have an affair. You chose to humiliate me in public. You chose to prioritize your career and your ego over our marriage. I step closer to her. And I chose to stop being your victim. Tears start running down her cheeks. I lost everything. My job, my friends, my reputation. Isn't that enough? Haven't I been punished enough? This isn't about punishment. It's about consequences. You wanted to know what it felt like to be successful, to be powerful, to be with a winner instead of a loser. Well, congratulations. You found out. Carter, who has been listening to this exchange while dabbing at his split lips, suddenly laughs. She's right, you know. You have become cold, ruthless. Maybe she did you a favor by cheating on you. Maybe this is who you were supposed to be all along. I look at him, then at Julia, then back at Carter. You know what? You might be right. Maybe I should thank you both. You showed me that being nice, being trusting, being loyal, none of that matters if you're dealing with people who don't share those values. I walk toward the elevator, then pause and turn back. Carter, your car's not going to start. Someone poured sugar in the gas tank about an hour ago. You'll need to call a tow truck. I smile. Or maybe Julia can give you a ride. Assuming her car still runs. I'd check the tires first, though. Julia runs toward the visitor parking area. A moment later, I hear her scream. Carter limps after her, and his cursing echoes through the garage. I take the elevator back up to my office and call Sam Lister. It's done, I tell her. All of it? All of it. Carter's finished. Unemployed, divorced, and about to be arrested for assault if he's stupid enough to bother me again. Julia's reputation is destroyed, her career is over, and she's finally learned what it feels like to be on the receiving end of public humiliation. And how do you feel? I look out my office window at the city lights below. Somewhere out there, Julia and Carter are dealing with slashed tires and ruined cars and the wreckage of their lives. Somewhere out there, Maya is probably fielding another hysterical phone call from her former best friend. Somewhere out there, Mrs. Petrelli is making lasagna and gossiping with her neighbors about the drama in Foray. I feel like I finally understand the difference between being a good man and being a weak man, I say. Turns out, you can be both strong and decent. You just have to choose your battles carefully and make sure you win the ones that matter. I hang up the phone and get back to work. Tomorrow, Julia and Carter will wake up in their separate miseries, dealing with the consequences of their choices. Tomorrow, I'll wake up in my reclaimed apartment, go to my new office, and continue building the life I should have been living all along. I'm not the same man Julia married. I'm not the pushover who let people walk all over him for the sake of keeping the peace. I'm not the victim who absorbed misuse and betrayal because I was afraid of being alone. I'm the man who fought back and won. And Julia was right about one thing. I'm not her loser anymore. I never was. She was mine all along.